Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Schmoedown. We are beginning a new era here as we have, if you've seen the previous video, we have joined with Schmoes from the North. We are now like me, myself, and Ben, we are now adopted Canadians. It's going to take a couple of months, maybe a year to get our dual citizenships, but we are here with Schmoes in the North. And what better way to start off as we invited Dave himself to help to talk about pretty much someone who I see is overlooked, underrated in the Schmoedown. And with that doubt, when we're going to discuss who can drop some sick bars, and that is Scary Perri Nemiroff. Dave, welcome. How are you doing, man?
I feel great, Ryan. Ben, thank you for having me on this episode. Perri is a player who, since she debuted in season 3, I've always loved seeing on screen. And since I was the only member of Schmoes of the North not on the Schmoes of the North Mount Schmoedown crossover, it makes sense that the first episode of Mount Schmoedown officially on Schmoes of the North, I'd be here. So thank you for having me, and I'm excited to talk about Perri.
Well, thank you for having us on show on your channel. It's really great to be one big happy family.
It's not my channel anymore. It's all of our channel as we work to build Schmoes of the North to be the #1 Schmoedown entertainment podcast thing based in the North that starts with the letter S.
I definitely agree with that. Trust me, since we all joined together, I am still trying to figure how I can break the news to our Sherpa that we may no longer require their services. But you know what? we still want to bring in guests every now and then. Maybe in the future have another third host or a round panel here. So our Sherpa went from full-time to part-time, but I'm still going to make sure they get their benefits. We're not letting them go. Okay.
That's right. Everyone respect your Sherpa. It's a dying industry, and you got to make sure that they're getting there.
Yes. I mean, 2020 may be over, but 2021 is still trying to drag us into the deep. But let's stop. Let's stop talking about our personal lives, and let's start talking about somebody who made her comeback last year in season 7 and has been drafted this year in season 8. So I'm happy to know that Perri, that her time in season 7 wasn't very short-lived. She came back, and not only that, I mean, heck, she won Upset of the Year at the Schmoe Awards, beating Mike Kalinowski, which is an incredible. Honestly, it's amazing too, because the list of nominees that she went up against, I definitely voted for that, because looking at the story that went into her match against Mike, to where, yeah, she hasn't been seen since her defeat, since her retirement match. And it was more people wondering, does she still have that knowledge? Can she still go? But when we saw in her match against Mike, the fact that she stayed really well within range. I think it was only like a 1-point difference, or it was tied going into round 2. And then when she got Monster Movie, she really handled that slice very well.
Yeah. Dan always from Schmoes of the North always talks about how having a 1-point lead in the third round is like having a 3-point lead in hockey. It's the worst thing you can do, because you just get a little bit too comfortable. And then that's what happened to Mike. And Perri, like a velociraptor, she flanked him and upset City.
Yeah, I think if I can recall from because I rewatched this match a couple days ago, Mike had gotten, I think, a slice that he actually wanted. I'm not sure if it was Spinner's Choice or if it was, let me double check my notes here. Let's see. No, he got new releases, which was very interesting. I mean, of course, with it being 2020, they had to pretty much extend to what new releases were. But even then, he was still struggling a little bit with those questions. And the fact Perri actually she got a steal off of him, which was surprising. But even then, round 3 could have gone either way, to where Mike looked like he was really chasing up on her. But like everything else that happens, questions didn't work for him, and Perri got the victory.
What about you, Ben? How do you feel about Perri?
She's great, and she's awesome to watch. I feel with Trump's studying and a Trump teammate, I feel like she could be a real force to be afraid of this coming up here. And that match between Perri and Mike, it was mainly good versus evil, sweet versus sour. It was really great to see good overtake evil.
Yes.
I guess if we had to get nerdy on that, we can say that Perri was more of the lawful good going up against Mike's lawful evil in a way, because there's no way Mike is chaotic. Mike has not shown he's been chaotic or neutral. He has been one side throughout the entirety of the Schmoedown.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, no, I was gonna say, I think you were. I was about to say, I can understand Mike was chaotic during his switch to forming corruption, but like once he and Chance became a solid team, it was clear Mike was 100. And when Shannon became part of the Schmoedown, Mike has been one gear, and he has continued like spinning those wheels. And this is not a shot at Mike's character, everybody. This is just more of, hey, I'm not a big D&D guy, but even then, I understand that when it comes with the areas that you fall into, the chaotic, neutral, and lawful, sometimes in chaotic, you're more than just one way. You are either ultimately fucking insane, or you're kind of reasonably insane.
And you know what? I am a massive D&D guy, but the Perri Nemiroff as the lawful good cleric of the Schmoedown, I love that. She has been one of the, when you look through Schmoedown history, she may be the only 100% pure good, like, light in the Schmoedown. Even some of our greatest heroes, like the Kid, Bibiani, you see a little bit of that darkness coming out. But Perri, she's gonna just crush you with kindness. And you know what? She doesn't have the most stellar, when you look at strictly wins and losses category of Perri's career, but she's just always someone who you love to watch and you love to root for.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Go
ahead, Ben. It's all yours.
I want to give a special shout out to that awesome Billy Madison opening. They had against 6 Degrees. That's still my favorite opening of the whole Schmoedown.
Yeah, going all out with the Billy Madison, getting so many different people together, firing off confetti can. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, it actually wasn't 6 Degrees. That was against ETC.
No, I think it was against the Nerds Watch, because against ETC, they came out to Footloose music. They
got so many. There are so many songs and dances in the career of Perri Nemiroff. They started attributing to them to the wrong places.
No, trust me. With the constant amount of players that we have covered, even sometimes I have like a big freaking cork board with strings going across. This went here, this went here, this went here. Because I do remember, because in our episode when we talked about Dewberry, I said to Brandon and Ben that when Tough Beats played against them, Tough Beats had recently just won the Babyface Team of the Year from the Schmoes from the Schmoville audiences. So when they came out to that, I remember Jonathan Boyka hold up a sign saying thank you to everybody out there for voting them, even though they just had one match. But it was the fact that their match against Double Jeopardy, they were just so warm and likable. Everybody was just like, yeah, we love this team. We want to see more of them. And their match against Double Jeopardy, Jesus Christ.
Ooh. What a story when you look at that. It's like, this is a Jeopardy champion and future singles and teams belt holder Sam Levine going up against Perri Nemiroff and Jonathan Voico was his name?
Voico. Yeah.
And it's like, who are they? We know Sam Levine can throw down, and it's one of the early regulation KOs that we ever see, and it was so good to see.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Even though, like you said, a Jeopardy champion, and out of fucking Brad. Just the fact that them going in though, him and Sam, their first match together, they had no points out of that first round. And that shot, I mean, of course, knowing Sam's career now, seeing how good he is, really rewatching that, I am literally seeing a different Sam Levine. I'm going, wow. You talk about humble beginnings. That was insane.
Yeah, for sure.
But Ben, you got any thoughts for this match before we start breaking down even more?
And not about that particular match, but real quick.
Hello?
It was 6 degrees. That really matters in the song. I just looked it up. It was 6 degrees.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm sorry. No, keep going. I'm sorry. My bad.
Okay.
No, that's fine, man. If it's anything like that, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, don't. Go ahead.
I think you all know a little bit of a delay.
Oh, crap. You gotta be kidding me. We were just doing so well. Now the delay wants to hit us.
You'll find out.
Okay,
Ladies,
cool. But yeah, just in that first match. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen, the internet. Never mind. It was a terrible joke. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. I think I actually might be the one with these delays because I'm seeing so much delay on my end here. I feel like I may need to quickly check out, boot up my internet for a second. But if we're all good here, hopefully we can get back on. I mean, we didn't fall off on track. The internet was just more like, oh, this is a nice conversation. Too bad nobody's gonna mess it up.
It's like how the internet said, how dare you mess up the Billy Madison and Footloose intros, Dave? Get out of here.
Yeah, let's be honest. I find it bad.
No, I think the internet was like they love Brad Rutter, so it's kind of like, don't you dare disrespect this Jeopardy champion. And then we're like, boom, we're gonna give you some delay issues. But
exactly.
Still on the fact of that round one, though. I mean, God, their questions. I mean, I'll be honest. Of course, looking back, I'm like, oh, because I'm so into the Schmoedown, I'm like, I get these questions. But no, even then, just seeing Brad and Sam really trying to. Of course, this was season 3, so it was like one person takes the first 3 questions, then another person takes the next 3 questions. But even then, just seeing how hard it was on them to figure out the answers to their categories. Even looked at one time that Sam knew one of Brad's questions, and he's just like, oh God.
Yeah. It was a treat because I started watching the Schmoedown in season 2. So going back, and I'm not a person who rewatches a lot of stuff. So going back for this episode and watching that first Tough Beats match, I'm like, wow, such humble beginnings for the Schmoedown, right? Like just they're still kind of flying by the seat of their pants. It was just so refreshing. I love where we are now, and I love the fairness across the board, and I love the just how structured the game is. But it was kind of fun going back to a more chaotic Schmoedown.
Well, and in season 3, the round 1 was so different. Now, you had 3 questions for each team. No, you had 6 divided by 2.
Yeah.
It is really weird. No white mode. No safety rules. I know no challenges. Really.
Yeah, it wasn't until that
I believe it was your fun. Yeah, sorry. I think maybe until like start of season. I was actually gonna agree with. I was probably gonna build off of you, Dave. Like maybe somewhere around season 4 to where it was getting very more serious, more structured. Like because even then, it was still kind of like fun where everyone was relying on their knowledges. That's why I mean, it has been obvious when in our old episodes. We always keep talking about, oh my god, it's so weird looking at the Schmoedown like seasons, like the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament, season 3 of Collider, halfway season 4. To me, I'm like, you know what? I love it because I don't have to focus too much on having to like on like knowing specific categories or like really like playing along with them. I can just sit back, watch everybody, and even see their own reactions to where they couldn't even where they missed a question, to where in hindsight they realized it was obvious. Nobody was on each other's asses at that time, which I appreciated.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
Can I just say back then, we got Josh McCougar, his mom, Bobby Finstock. We didn't get that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really wouldn't.
And we wouldn't get it. Yeah, it's sad.
And you know, this woman to the left of me, unless the screen's inverted in YouTube, that's to the right of me, she's been there through every iteration of. She played in that weird you get some questions, we get some questions format, to where the 2-pointer was only worth one point.
Yeah.
Then taking a long hiatus and coming back now. Perri Nemiroff is the Schmoedown constant. You look at her for her in an era, and you'll find her, even if she's only doing Jurassic Park exhibitions.
No, even not even that. She also, when she wasn't playing, she also did double duty as post interviewer. Because before, because around season 5, I believe season 4 and 5, she was being a post interviewer after certain matches. Because when of course, obviously season 5, like midway season 4 and then season 5, they were getting more and more professional. But during that time, season 4, they were fluctuating through people doing interviews. I mean, they had Emma Fife, they had Jen Sturger, Perri did a couple, Grace Hancock did a few as well.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was even going to say Mark Riley when he had took a step back, but go right ahead, man.
No, I was going to say, and I didn't go back and watch any of Perry's post-match interview stuff because I wasn't sure if we were going to talk about that much. But I remember thinking back in the day, it was like Grace is the heel interviewer, Emma is the face interviewer, and Perry's the tweener. And I always loved having Perri do the interviews with like a John Roca or something, because she was never there to try and upstage or be a bigger character. Perry's always been someone who's very subdued, but just electric to watch. And when she is sitting there with just that dry wit, or those quick zings to someone like a Scott Mance or a John Roca, you're like, she's got it. I'm not a Hollywood producer, but she's got it.
You know what I call her? I call her the sneaky assassin. She seems like she would be really pleasant and cute, but when she sings you, she sings you good.
She was very good. That's one of the reasons why it's kind of one of the reasons why I like looking back at. I like the fact that when we get to pick a player and we think, oh, they only have these minimum matches, then it's fine. But then when we look at people who have done more than 12 or 15, we start to notice, wait, there's some cross here. Or, oh, wait a minute, this person, they were more than just a player. They've also been on the desk. They've co-hosted. They've been interviewers. Like they've done, like Christian. When he ever gets the opportunity, he does ask people if they're willing to help a little more behind the scenes, or at least when it comes with the more sports-centric aspect of the Schmoedown. And Perri, like many of the other women in the Schmoedown, was not afraid to say yes, or whenever she could. And I definitely appreciate that about her. I mean, we're definitely going to talk more about her, some of her matches, but even then, her dry wit, her no nonsense, nonchalant attitude towards heels, and even being very supportive for her at moments with faces were just kind of like, I mean, if we really went through the entire Schmoedown with a fine-tooth comb, we can find that she was possibly part of maybe 15-20% of the highlighted moments of the Schmoedown, of certain turning points for certain players. Like my best example, Breanne Chandler. When we talked about Breanne Chandler, her first match against Perri Nemiroff, she came in with that Kill Bill attitude. Halfway through the match, Breanne went from just happy to play to a full-fledged heel character over a challenge. And it was against, sure, people think, but even then, it was still a very even match between Breanne and Perri. The only thing that changed was round 2, when Perri just unfortunately was unable to get like 2 or 3 of her questions. Yeah, Perri ended up getting a horror thriller, which was her strength, but she didn't get that many points, only 3 points. Breanne stole 2 off of her, but she did steal 2 points off Breanne when Breanne got 90s questions. I mean, 90s, the 1990s.
When you look back, and that's what has been so much fun about going back and watching all these old Perri matches. She has been a part of some historic moments in the Schmoedown, from knocking out future teams champion Sam Levine in that first match, to a moment that we would, if it happened today, we would never hear the end of, where Ken forgets to ask Perri and Jonathan one of their round 2 questions, and they have to get brought back into the studio to answer a question. But
that,
like, historic and then going all the way up to now with the Mike Kalinowski Upset City. Like, she has been a part of so many historic and, I think, fundamental and foundational moments in the Schmoedown.
Yeah, I do agree. And we did touch on this earlier regarding her, the number of entrances that she did with Tough Beats. Really looking back at season 3, and I really look back at it, they were the only, of course, going into season 4, when their role of Tough Beats, they really were one of the few only teams that actually go all out. And then Bibiani carried the torches with the entrances. So they really did help light the fire for these great elaborate entrances, like with the Billy Madison they did against Nerds Watch, their Footloose dance sequence against ETC, and then of course their final match against 6 Degrees. Oh my God, what was it? I know they did something. They did something good.
The Billy Madison one.
Yeah, that
was that the Billy Madison one?
Yeah.
Oh, then I guess their match against Nerds Watch, they didn't do anything like that. Wow, looks like I'm the. I think the internet's going to strike me now because I didn't get that right.
Have we learned nothing?
No, apparently not. No, but even then, like the great entrances they did. I think they even got Josh McCouga in their Billy Madison one to dress like an actual clown just to be a part of the singing venture. They went so far out. They actually did have sing-along subtitles to that Billy Madison entrance, which was so good.
They had John Luca in the background.
Yeah,
that's right. Even Grace Hancock, who before she became the Lioness, was a part of a few of theirs.
Yeah, I think the Billy Madison entrance, you could tell, because maybe a bit of an underreported fact at the time was that this was a retirement match between 6 Degrees and Tough Beats. But I think when you look at 6 Degrees and you look at Tough Beats, especially after Tough Beats has been, at that point, they've been TKO'd twice. And it's like, we're probably not winning this match. But you know what? If we're going out, we're going all out. So they bring in everybody and could you imagine the just uproar and the applause that if that Billy Madison happened in studio in like a season 6 or season 7 pre-COVID?
At a live event, maybe. Oh my God. If that happened at a live event, people would definitely lose their minds.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay. What if in that match, what if Tough Beats won, meaning 6 Degrees, having 6 Degrees split up? How would that change everything?
I just found their match against Nerd Watch. They did. They came out to Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh, that's right. And didn't they start with like Jonathan was at his editing desk behind the scenes? Yes, that's right.
They did, yeah. The music was playing, and then they're just hyping themselves up to, it started off with Hooked on a Feeling. I'm like, my God.
That's right.
But even then, their entrances, what John and Perri were doing, but as you said, it was definitely a foundational moment of the Schmoedown, to which inspired so many other people to play to do great entrances. I mean, I'm not saying Bibiani would have not done it later on in his career, but he really would not have not stepped up in our level if the template of what Perri and Jonathan didn't do with their stuff with tough beats didn't really, like, with great little sample, like a sampler platter for him to go like, oh, so they did do this in the past, and then inspired people like Bibiani to move forward with entrances.
Well,
Yes,
I think it was tough and Pete, and I think it was 6 degrees.
Yeah.
They had really great entrances too.
Yeah, if we don't, even against 6 degrees, if you remember, like 6 degrees came out crazy with like Brienne was Catwoman and Stacy was being carried in by like the Real Rejects and Team Action. And it's like they all, if it's not for teams like Tough Beats and 6 degrees, maybe we don't get Shazamming themselves to be announcers, or we don't get
the announcer
or we don't get the critically acclaimed Monsters Inc. Entrance, and which criminally underrated.
Their Mystery Science Theater 3000 entrance, Bibiani's entrance. Oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah. So
how about when the kid was contending to be the new infant last year?
He did their Home Alone entrance. Yes.
Yes. And if it's not for players like Perri, and Perri even carries this on to never mind. Scratch what I was about to say. But Perri is a fan. If it's not for Perri, we don't get those moments, just cementing how important Perri Nemiroff is and why, even if she retired tomorrow, I think if we were doing a Mount Schmoedown of entrances, Perri Nemiroff's face is up there easily.
Yeah, that's one thing. Of course, I've said in our old episodes, I've said it with Brandon Ben, and I will say it here on Schmoes of the North. When we do Mount Schmoedown, this is not about the greatest players who have the best records, the most titles of all time. This is about highlighting individuals that have really struck, like, really left a big impression in the Schmoedown, whether their records are not as great as their performances. Like we said this in our episode on Joseph Scrimshaw. He is a dynamite Star Wars player. He is a top A-ranked Star Wars player. He has just been unlucky in his matches because you see who he goes up against. And even hopefully season 8, that luck will turn around to where everyone will realize he is a damn good Star Wars player. And he deserves recognition. And I think with Perri too, Perri showed season 7, even in our team's match with Haley with the witching power, they really did work well with each other. If they were not afraid to admit, we're unfamiliar with this, we're just going to work together and do actual teamwork, not like, we'll work together and then it's just one person carrying the weight. And I'm not going to point out to any teams, but we clearly saw a lot of that in season 7 and season 6. I mean, throughout the entire Schmoedown, one person is unfortunately just carrying the team throughout the match. And of course, this community loves to highlight who's the stronger player of this team. Like, who's like, Matt Nose was the better player of top 10, or Dan carried Roca in the Founding Fathers, or Ben, or Bateman was the stronger team action player, or Rachel was clearly the stronger of the Nerds Watch. But if you really look at these matches, you clearly see that Andrew Guy was the stronger player of team action. Roca really did carry Matt and Ben and Dan both times, and then also, with the Nerds Watch, when Rachel herself was still just starting, Ken Knapsack was the veteran. And even my favorite, I'm a big Clark Wolf fan, but even when you look at Wolves of Steel, she and Riley were not always on equal terms. Sometimes one of them knew more, and sometimes the other. It was literally back and forth between the two of them. The only time you really do see them shine was during the season 4 tournament when they had that run all the way up to above the line, where they were both on equal footing.
And Perri, I think, is someone who you put her in a player. She's like a little bit of salt or butter. She's going to make anything better. You know, I think I'm looking at the Quirky Mercs right now, and it's very upsetting to me that Haley Fouch didn't stay with the Mercs and that she went with Swag. I'm excited to see what she does, but I would have loved to see the witching power continue. Perri, though, you pair her with Perri.
Yeah.
You pair Perri with Heavy Faith. And they always say it's the best when the person laughing the most is you, and I'm laughing so much on the inside. That's probably the best joke.
I'm gonna be, and actually, I do love that, and I think the fact with Perri, looking at the roster of the Mercs this season, I mean, of course Coy went hard getting some IG and Star Wars players out of Eric Whiteley, Jesse Swift, and Andrew DiMolanta. But even then, the people he has retained, I mean, he's retained Bibbs, the kid. I mean, of course, Kevin Smith he retained, but if Kevin Smith gets an opportunity to play more, I would like to see him in a one-off team match with Perri as his partner. If not, obviously, to me, I think Josh Horowitz, Beth May, or Sabrina can be a great partner for Perri.
Yeah, me and Ben were talking about this a little bit before the show as we were looking at the roster, and either Beth May has a very different energy than Perri, so I think that could be a fun combo. But Sabrina Ramirez also has, I think that could be a female who's the boss. The more I've thought about it, maybe not. Neither one of them has shown the outstanding performances yet, but I believe both of them are capable of it. But it's where Who's the Boss started, where Riley is apologizing to Haley Fouch and Eric Zipper, being like, I'm so sorry for him. I'm so sorry about Ben Bateman. And Perri Nemiroff is apologizing, being like, I'm so sorry. Sabrina's so mean. I'm so sorry.
And, I mean, judging, and I think that's one of the things I do want to highlight with Sabrina. Everyone really quickly judged her too quickly on her match against Vinny for that first season. I'm like, guys, digital era. Remember, stop thinking. I mean, I understand we can't help but be in the now, but at times with the Schmoedown, we sometimes have to look in the long run. And honestly, I'm glad Sabrina definitely got picked up. I mean, of course, she got picked up later on in the supplemental draft, but I'm glad she still got picked up because the stuff that she does with RB3 and Ace with First Cut, and even having her own personal Patreon channel of Sabrina on Film, she's passionate about movies, and she really wasn't that interested to rejoin back. She really could have said no, but she wanted to. I'm glad that she's not going to be in the First Class League, even though this is no disrespect to the First Class League, but Sabrina, to me, feels like the Schmoedown is her arena, and she needs to move forward. So Beth and Sabrina. Oh my God, Garth!
You know what? Ryan, you're saying a lot of great stuff right now about Sabrina. That's great. We're done talking about that. Perri may win. Schmoedown. I know some Schmoedown competitors occasionally frequent Schmoes of the North. Throw that up the chain. That's the greatest team name in the history of ever. Garth, good for you. You've won the day.
To start a petition. We need to start a petition for the team for the pairing of Perri and Beth called Perri May Win, and we need to bring this to Christian's feet and keep with this petition until he's blue in the face, like we did with Rachel changing it from the shooting star to the switchblade. We have to do that now.
Start the hashtag now.
Perri May Win. And then we get Sabrina on the dominant singles run she deserves. But yes, Perri May Win.
Oh
my God.
That's funny. Riley, because it was close between them. Yeah, that's in response to Lou, who's in the chat, asking who Perri's toughest opponent has been throughout. And I agree. It was probably either Riley or Mike.
Those are actually her only, other than Brienne. Those are her 3 singles matches: Brienne, Mike, and Riley.
Yeah, she's always been more of a teams player. I guess you could say that if you look at like what match, who was the hardest team she ever went up against, weirdly it's ETC, because they were the ones who beat them, even though ETC I love, and they're the reason I started watching the Schmoedown.
They were the OG bad boys, the OG heels.
OG heels. Don't give me this. John Roca was the first heel. Ricky was the first heel.
Ricky and Elliot, from their match against Profiles all the way to them breaking up, they were heels. They talked about the Schmoedown before Andrew Guy did. They were talking shit about Christian before Team Action did. So all you, and this is me going heel, but to all you Action Army fans out there, they will need action. Team Action ain't nothing if ETC didn't lay the foundation. ETC kicked and screamed and clawed just so Action can come in with their shades and walk like the cool guys who don't look like explosions.
Now, to bring this back to Perri, and
let's do so.
Let's do so. So, pretty early on in their career, Perri and Jonathan go up against ETC, and like, what a match that is for the history books, right? Where they get TKO'd because Ken forgot to write down how many questions had been asked. They have to get brought back in to ask another question. They end up getting that question for 2 points, but then ETC still beats them after being called back in. And it's like, what a world. What a crazy world we were living in back then, eh?
Well, yeah, and also I think they would not have actually put that on live TV, especially with this community. It would have just been during the match, during person interviews, they realized, oh wait, no, and then they would have done like some good editing techniques to go like, okay, and then maybe afterwards, because during that time with seasons 2 and 3, Christian had no problem going on before a broadcast and saying, hey, look, we understand this mistake was made and we apologize for that. And that was one of the time the Schmoeville audiences they were very understanding. I mean, the more Christian and we're gonna get back to Perri. I'm gonna take one little last detour. And all I'm gonna say is, regarding with Christian, no matter how many people feel on this season, the slip-ups, the mistakes that are happening, we all need to understand. Fortunately, this is a program they're doing. I mean, the fact is, 3 matches per week this season. A pay-per-view, 3 pay-per-views per the month. And then the fact that we have more Star Wars, an in-depth inner geekdom league, whenever teams is going to get back up and running, over 96 players, 12 players per faction. And then first class league coming up to, we don't even know how many people are going to be in there as well for the first class league. So, and he's got like maybe 7-8 people for the writing team. Now that Nerd Crime's got more people, now they've expanded their editing team. They're going to be so goddamn busy. I am going to always give the benefit of the doubt whenever a slip up happens in a match, because it's done before the head of time, and then we get it. They rarely do the live stuff except for the pay-per-views, which is why I'm 95% forgiving, and then 5%, give me a fucking break, you know. To quote The Walking Dead, my mercy outweighs my wrath. So,
you know,
I'm done.
So, Ben, what's your favorite Perri Nemiroff match?
I know it, you know, the next one I got me here was very smart. It was what here in Upset the City. And that one tough meeting was 60 weeks before that opening. One of those matches was great to me. Very entertaining.
It is.
Yeah. Those are, you know what I really love about those 2 picks right there is that they are great matches for different reasons. Where you see the 6 Degrees match where it's just pure entertainment 100%. From the openings, even into the match, everyone's having a great time. Sad when Perri and Jonathan have to break up. But then the mic match is one of those amazing sports moments where Perri down in the first round, down after the second round, and then you see her come back. It's what all great sports movies are about, and that's why we love watching this game. Those are great picks, Ben.
How about you, Dig? Your favorite Perri matches?
Weirdly, my favorite teams match for her is probably their first one against Double Jeopardy. I think that's just such an entertaining match, and there's a great moment in it where Perri is asked what animal distracts Doug the dog in Up, and she's like, squirrel. I only know that because Mark Riley does his Cal voice and says squirrel. And I'm like, that's just great. That's so wholesome and fun. And then the other one is a match we haven't even talked about yet, which is the first Perri versus Cody.
I was going to bring that up too.
Iron Man match. So good. So good.
I wanted to bring that up too because that was one of mine. The fact that that match literally went neck and neck throughout the entire time. Maybe only Cody missing once in a question, and then it got to the end. I mean, Perri, she didn't go near perfect, but she dominated that Jurassic Park. And I believe she also won one of the new release matches as well, so the new release exhibition matches. So Perri shows that her work in being part of Collider, it does help with movie knowledge. The fact that she's always doing reviews, especially on her channel, whenever she brings in Dewey the cat, when she's talking about movies, or when Dewey likes to do a surprise appearance, it is still showing like she has this great knowledge. She loves talking about movies. So when she did the other new release match later on, when Dan Murrell and then I think Alex Marzonia was involved, that was interesting because this is the one time we can see Perri go up against Dan Murrell.
You know what? That Perri Nemiroff, the more we're talking about it, she kind of was the original Sabrina Ramirez, where she was someone who was appearing on Movie Talk, talking about movies, loving movies, and Christian would always say, man, we got to get you in the Schmoedown. We got to get you in the Schmoedown. You know so much. And she was a little hesitant to do so until something flipped and she was like, I'm doing it. I'm coming in. And then she impressed us. And I think that looking at that career trajectory that she's had, speaks, we're still talking about her now, so there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I think that's, even if she did continue to do exhibition matches throughout the rest of Schmoedown, I would not have said no, because that's the thing I loved about these exhibition matches we're getting. We get to see what could have been potential matchups between players. Like, for Christ's sakes, I mean, we got the Rocky thing that Christian Harloff likes to do. Yeah, we got to see that between. We got to see a fucking Rocky exhibition match between JTE and Dagnino, to where Dagnino won, and then we get a Dagnino versus Harloff, and then it gets a Harloff versus Roca. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, and
like we could have seen something like this in season 3.
Exactly. And Leo Logan there brings up a great point about the witching power coming back after a 7-point deficit. That's just Perri Nemiroff again. She's just straight flexing and saying, you know what, she is the Chumbawamba of the Schmoedown. She's gonna get knocked down, but she will get up again. You ain't never keeping Perri down.
No.
Let me ask you another question.
Go for it.
She gets caught with somebody. Would you say she's an A player or a B player?
I don't think, and this is no disrespect. This is no disrespect to Perri. I really think she, no matter what team you put her on, I think she is probably going to be the B player, just because she has. Ooh.
That's you can continue your thought. We'll definitely get to this one.
That's a good question. I think she's definitely, just because I think she has so much knowledge, and that has always been so evident.
Yeah.
But there's a reason Bibiani didn't become Bibiani for a while, which is she doesn't have the reps yet to be an A player, I think. And also her breadth of knowledge is great, but it is not so expansive as to be an A player. But I think she is like I said, she's just like a little bit of salt or butter. She's going to make any team better.
So what do you think? What do you think with the amount? If she's studying, if she really put in the work, could she become an A player eventually? I think she can.
I do agree with you. I think with Perri, of course, she's always going to be up to date on more recent release movies because of her job at Collider, and of course with her own personal challenge when she likes to review her own personal taste in movies, either it be horror or just some now I won't say obscure, but just some movies that she personally liked that she wants to talk with her friends about. I do think, depending on maybe instead of just the studying purposes, if she's given more of the reps like Bibiani does, like do mock matches with her people in her faction to where constant categories or different random questions are being thrown at her. And then if some of that's, and with the retention she gets from these constant reps and mock matches, we would see her definitely rise up to the level to where Brendan is, or where Mike Kalinowski was during his season 5 run, like, or even get to the point to where Clark Wolf is. Like, I really think Perri can get to those high levels. Like, it always depends the match you're having, the questions you get, and because round 2 and round 3 can always change. Because to bring back what Leo had said, Witching Power, 7-point deficit behind them. And the Witching Power got Kurt Russell to where they were struggling very bad. I mean, it was really rough. And the Misfits got at least maybe a 1 or 2 point steal off of them to really cut that deficit. And the fact that they got all 3 of their questions correct, and then see how Zipper and Witt missed all 3 of theirs. Like, that Witching Power match and Perry's match against Mike were big what-if moments, where if Mike had actually gotten it right, because going back on Perri and Mike had came off of to where he could have gotten into a chance to face Andrew Guy, to face Ben Bateman for a chance to play Dan Murrow for the championship. But he said no and decided to do the whole thing and get more points for his faction to be into the singles tournament. If Mike had actually won, that would have justified all of Mike's choices for not wanting to play against Andrew Guy to go for that championship, for that singles championship.
Yeah,
but he lost.
A little bit of Schmoes from the North history here. We did a singles tournament breakdown where we were talking when the bracket first got announced, and we were like, oh, these are the matches we're all really excited about. And we got to Perri versus Mike, and it was me, Soda, and Lou. We were all on the call, and all of our response was, oh, I feel so bad for Perri. Oh, she's coming back, and this is how she's going to go out. First round to Mike Kalinowski. Oh, I hope this doesn't discourage her. We really hope we see her in teams, maybe next year. And then she just surprised us, and it was so good. And I'm so glad that Perri's there. And I hope that she plays again this year. She doesn't have anything on the books yet, but I hope that she does.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest here for a second? About that Perri and Mike match? I kind of had a feeling Perri was going to win. So, something in my gut is telling me it was her match to win.
I think it's because you can't pull that trick twice where you say, you know what, I'm not going to have a number 1 contenders match. I'm going to go win the tournament. And you already played that card in Inner Geekdom. You don't get to do that twice.
Yeah. It is difficult to tell, but we definitely, with Frenchie had brought this up earlier. Now that Jurassic Park is in IG, I think the questions that only raises on Perri. Has it been official? Has Perri said that she wanted to play in IG, or is she still going to be a strictly teams player or a singles player? Because Jurassic Park has now been a part of IG, so we're seeing it implemented. But
I think she's talked about it. Being like, because she's seen all those movies, but I think the Mercs have a pretty when it comes let me bring up the thing again, but I think they have some good IG players there. So I don't know, like even with both of the real rejects, they got wins last year. Jesse Swift, obviously, we saw what he could do. So
that's 3. And then Josh Horowitz, he's the wild card. I don't know if he's going to be doing double divisions, like it'd be an IG guy. So it would make sense that
it would be interesting. I think this actually, with Jurassic Park being added to IG, this actually helps Perri this year. Now that you can request IG slices in a singles match, she can say,
yes,
you know what? I would like horror and Jurassic Park, please. And it's like, oh, those are scary categories when you're going up against Perri.
So, let me ask you like this. Your point right now. The IG tournament is coming. Who do you think? Who do you put in? Perri or John Humphrey?
Well,
see, yeah,
sure.
It's tough, right?
Yeah, because I mean, look, John Humphrey has already shown last season that he wants to do more with IG, and of course, this week his match with Saul had just been released, and even despite that performance, I still think Coy as a manager may still want to continue going with John, or like John or Greg, either way between the two of them, which one wants to be involved?
Yeah, even I think maybe I would probably go Perri, because if she is interested in doing it. Thank you, Jay Wade. We agree on this. Perri.
I'm still hesitant because I don't know if it's official. If Perri has said she wants to play in IG. I mean, if we're just doing fantasy, then yes, I would love for Perri to jump into IG.
All this is fantasy. All this is fantasy. None of this is real. I'm not real. I'm just a very sophisticated AI that Schmoes of the North came up with. All right.
Well, explain how the screen's been glitching now. It's the code. Your code's breaking apart.
No, that's just my computer getting jealous of my sophistication.
That's what's happening here.
Man,
in the matrix.
If this wasn't live and I had a chance to edit this, would definitely turn my screen all matrixy.
Yeah.
But probably Perri in the IG tournament. But I would actually prefer Perri to really study in on singles and teams, because it's coach. Okay. All right. Get this guy out of here. Anyway, but I would really like to see Perri this season really nail down singles and teams, because I've been preaching this season about the need of the Stacey Howard archetype for every faction, and that is the mid-level player that is going to play a lot and is probably going to win some matches, but is never going to be in title contention. Because when you have people like Bibiani and even Brendan Meyer, they're only playing a handful of other players. But Perri is someone who's in the mid-tier, who you can say, all right, you can play here, you can play this person, we don't need to worry about it, you're not in contention yet. Then she gets 3 or 4 wins for your faction. And then all of a sudden, Perri Nemiroff is the most valuable member of the Quirky Mercs. Also, as much as I love the Real Rejects, they are not the Quirky Mercs B team to Shazam. I think Perri and may it be Sabrina. No, screw that. It was Perri May Win. Or Perri May Win could be an amazing B team for Quirky Mercs. And I think every faction, especially with the expanded amount of matches and rosters, every faction is going to need, love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. That is perfect.
Every faction is going to need at least 2 teams. And look at that. Now we can see Perri's, it's gone now. We could see Perri's bangs when that was up, her famous bangs.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that is like the signature Perri. Her bangs and then also her rhymes as part of Tough Beats. She didn't drop any more beats when she was part of the Witching Power, but the rhyme for Tough Beats, every match she always had one, which was amazing. I mean, I love the fact that even in the interview the promo segment, Perri is just dropping a rhyme. And there's really no music for her to go to. She's doing it a cappella, and then the music comes afterwards to where they have to follow up. And it's like, okay, we got to keep up with Perri here. So I liked how Perri didn't need no music to just drop some bars.
No, Perri, you know, I hope she brings that back. I would love to see more tough beats.
To bounce this even more on Perri May win of her and Beth May. I can officially say that Beth May is a poet because I just purchased this off of Amazon.
Oh my goodness!
It is a collection of. It is pretty much Beth's own little book of a collection of old poems, dates, index cards, new poems, and diary entries. And just to let you all know, yeah, this is hers. So. To even put this even more for Coy, Perri May win. That's if you can't say quirky. If that doesn't say anything about the quirky mercs, then you've lost me there, bro.
You can't spell quirky without Perri. I'm dyslexic, so maybe that's not true, but I think it is.
Well, it has the syllable. It has that last syllable in quirky Perri.
There we go. There we go. Talking about this season though. Let's say Harloff announces tomorrow Perri Nemiroff is going to be facing this person. Who would you like to see her go up against this season?
Let's see. I mean, so far, of course, Christian's are obviously doing a lot of rookie rollouts. So, but even then, looking at play, maybe going through, I think seeing her going up against.
You know who I would like to see her up against?
Oh,
I don't know how likely this is. I want to see her up against fellow Loomis.
That would be a weird match, and I am all here for it. Let's see. Well, Ryan, did you come up with anyone? Because I just realized. Oh my God, Lou just nailed it.
Maybe David. Oh, yeah, James White. I was gonna say maybe David Del Rio, but
that's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember which of the players who have who are retained from last season and have records for her to go up against. Because her going up against rookies, to me, it feels kind of, I won't say it's kind of lopsided, but Christian is clearly trying to pair people up with rookies against rookies. He's not trying to pair a veteran against a rookie for singles matches.
Yeah, and Perri has a negative record right now, sitting at 1-2. So you got to look at if Janine wasn't already playing Jader, I think her versus Janine would be a really fun match.
Haley is on swag, so Haley is like a 1-2. Oh no, she's an 0-2. I know, but it's like her and Jen. Oh yeah, I don't want to see that. I mean, yeah, I don't want to see Perri going up against Haley or Jen, but it's like God.
JTE making his return this season. JTE versus Perri. TE Perri. I'm just, Garth.
We keep this going. Or maybe her against Frank Moran. Frank Moran's part of swag, so that's still someone with at least a match under their belt.
Yeah.
Or against Brittany Young. Oh no, that's gonna hurt too.
I have one. I don't know if it's not it though. Perri versus Stacey Howard.
Oh,
the revenge.
Oh, it would work. Yeah, it would.
Yeah, because that's something we didn't touch on at all. Where there was a tough beats versus
Leo did have that in the comments.
Did he?
Have that in the comments? Yeah, because Perri is 0 tough. Like during the tough beats rivalry, they were 0-3 against Stacy and Brienne. Because Perri had lost to Brienne and Jonathan lost to Stacey Howard, and then they lost to 6 Degrees.
That's right. So you know what? That's the one that I would hate to see either of those ladies lose, but I would love to see that match so much.
And I think is Stacey drafted this season?
Yeah, she's a suspect.
Yeah, she's on the suspects.
I think they seem like they would be equally level.
Mm-hmm.
I can see either one of them winning that match.
Yeah,
and it would be a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, like I see people like Leo Logan's in the chat saying Ben Goddard would be a good one, and I just don't want to. I think Ben's just at this point a higher level player than Perri. He's sitting at 0-1.
I disagree. No, Ben, he's got a win on his belt.
Sorry, he's 1-0. 1-0. Guys, dyslexia.
I think he's one. I thought he was 1-1. That could be just
no.
me.
He's 1-1 in IG. He's 1-0 in singles. He only played
because he beat RB3. Yeah, it would make more sense. Yeah, honestly, I'm on the opposite side. I think Ben versus Perri would be the better matchup because Perri, oh man, don't do that to me, Frenchie. Don't. Oh God, I did not have that underdog feeling when Perri went up against Mike. I really have that if that happens. I see Perri versus Rachel because Rachel, who I believe was surely given the wrong end of she was given the ugly end of the stick with the unfortunate luck that she's had in singles. And then the fact that she gets picked up in the supplemental draft for the Den. Rachel Silvestrini, she's going to come in with so much fire and rage that I would feel sorry for anybody in her path, and I don't want that to be Perri.
Yeah, I would also. I think honestly, I think we've been talking around it, but I think Ben nailed it. Like Perri versus Stacey, there's the history there. They're both, I feel like, at even where Perri, I don't think ever has an amazing guess. She has more knowledge than Stacey. And Stacey has good knowledge, but can guess better than anyone. So I think they
do kind of balance each other out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And Ben, you know what? You nailed it. You know what? Just friggin' take a hammer, just nail it to the wall. Nail it to the wall right here.
Yeah, I think with that, we definitely I think with that being said, we're gonna close this whole thing out. But before then, we're just gonna go once again with our final thoughts on Perri. Maybe depending. I mean, of course, we would love to foretell where she's going to be in this season. But yes, everybody who's still watching and people watching in the replay, just put that hashtag on the Schmoedown. Perri may win. Make sure you tag us because then Christian's going to be like, "What the hell is that supposed to mean?" And then we gotta lay out that thread, that breadcrumbs for Christian to come back and for Quinn to come back and go, "Oh, that's interesting." I mean, we would love to. It helped influence, but ultimately in the end, we're just talking. But Ben, final thoughts on Perri.
She's great. She always brings great entertainment. She has her knowledge. She just needs a tiny bit of fine tuning, and I think she's right there with everyone else. She's just awesome.
Exactly.
Dave, some of your final thoughts on Perri before we wrap up.
Perri is one of, and I think if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, Dave, how instrumental and foundational is Perri Nemiroff to the foundation of the Schmoedown? I probably would have said, it was great having Perri when we had her. I'm glad she's back. But honestly, not that big of an impact. But going back in preparation for this match and watching all those tough beats matches and the one singles match she had before coming back in the tournament and the Jurassic Park matches, like Perri Nemiroff is one of the unsung heroes of the Schmoedown. And even you reminding me about her doing those post-match interviews. Perri Nemiroff is a blessing to the Schmoedown, and I am so glad that she's back. Hashtag Perri may win.
You pretty much covered all the bases there, man. I mean, both.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but even then, yeah, just I mean, I don't want to keep reiterating what I say, but or try to recycle. But yeah, Perri, as what you said, Dave, she is definitely a blessing here in the Schmoedown. A very warming presence, either in the post interviews or in matches, to where you see her just be genuine when she's out there. She's not trying to put on a character like everyone else. She's one of the most naturally charismatic. I mean, with her dry humor, with her infectious smile, and the beats and the fact that she's brave enough to just rapping in the Schmoedown for fun. I mean, Christian being like, this is a new era. I'm not sure how I feel about the rapping, but she can still, with the fact that we're doing digital promos, she can still make 2 or 3 cuts of her doing a rap. And Eric, of course, Nerd Chronic could make them fire with his editing skills.
I'd love to see a war rap for Perri. I think that would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. But before we continue finishing up, Ben, I am just sharing something here. I want you to bring this on board. Yeah, bring this on board, as this is going to be our closing out moment. This is, of course, Perri's rap, as she did going up against the Nerds Watch. And I made sure I share the audio. So we're going to close out with the bars of Scary Perri Nemiroff.
All you haters who bitch about the rap, fuck you. We're having fun. Oh no, P. Bomb. This new beat's gonna take us to the top. Against Ken Napster. Watch.
What?
Before we know it, we'll be a 2-1. So rough. That's what happens with a beat so tough. We're here to win, but if we have fun, that's enough.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, people who have just watched us, below us was our special guest, Schmoes of the North staple, Dave Lees. Where can people find you on social media?
First of all, make sure you are liking this video. Subscribe to Schmoes of the North so you find all Mount Schmoedown programming. We also have match breakdowns for all your favorite Schmoedown matches every Friday or Sunday, depending on how we're feeling. We have interviews with all of your favorite competitors dropping whenever they're available, and so much more programming here at Schmoes of the North that you are not going to want to miss. And for me, just follow me at Schmoes of the North on YouTube and Facebook, and Northern Schmoes on Twitter, because my personal stuff is not worth a follow.
Okay. Ben, my brother, Ben, where can people find you?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at BenRanger2. How about you, Ryan? Where can people find you?
Well, definitely follow me on Twitter with my Twitter handle above, Caramel Payne. Also, we do our Mount Schmoedown Twitter is still active. Of course, with this whole transition, I've been dropping the ball on keep going with this, but it's a new era, guys. I'm going to make sure Mount Schmoedown Twitter is going to be more active. Also, follow our Facebook page, Mount Schmoedown, and also follow the Schmoes of the North Facebook page, as we're going to keep churning out more and more episodes here. But for that, signing off, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great day. Always remember to love each other. Have positive thoughts and put on a happy smile. We're almost leaving our house. We're almost out of the house, everybody. The quarantine's almost over. Let's stay positive.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Lou, that's mean.
And let's shut Dave off.